throughout Oregon and southwest Washington.
Honey Baked is the world's best ham, slow cooked with that sweet and crunchy honey glaze. Pick one up today at a Honey Baked store in Beaverton Town Square, the Water Tower, Salem Center, Vancouver Mall, and for the holidays, Clackamas Center, Lloyd Center, Three Rivers Mall, Kelso, and the 4 Hagen stores.
Watch Wheel of Fortune tonight at 7:30 here on K2.
To World News. Tonight from a very rainy Atlanta. In the headlines, the top U.S. general in Iraq warns Congress not to bring the troops home soon, no matter what the voters said. Enemy territory, a daring undercover journey to one of al-Qaeda's most fertile recruiting grounds. Brian Ross investigates. Medicare mess. Just when Americans thought they'd figured out the prescription drug plan, new choices and new confusion. We'll take a closer look at the fine print. And Waterworld. We go under the sea here in Atlanta to find out why a man spent his fortune on a fishing expedition.
From ABC News, this is World News with Charles Gibson. Reporting tonight from Atlanta.
Good evening. The top U.S. commander for the Middle East found himself caught between sort of a rock and a hard place today on Capitol Hill. The rock, the unrelenting violence in Iraq. The hard place, the rising tide of American disapproval for the war. A week after voters sent a strong signal of dissatisfaction with the war, General John Abizaid warned the Senate Armed Services Committee, do not set a timetable for troop withdrawal. Here's our national security correspondent, Jonathan Karl.
Just back from Iraq, General Abizaid rejected virtually every major proposal for changing course in Iraq. No timetable for withdrawal, no partition of the country, and no increase in U.S. forces. That prompted this tense exchange with Senator John McCain.
General Abizaid, is Al Anbar province under control?
Al Anbar province is not under control, Senator.
Yet we have enough troops to take care of the problem, which you say Baghdad is the primary area. I don't understand, General. I don't know how many American lives have been sacrificed in Al Anbar province, but we still have enough, and we will rely on the ability to train the Iraqi military when the Iraqi army hasn't sent the requested number of battalions into Baghdad.
Abizaid said he was encouraged by what he saw while he was in Iraq earlier this week.
Was it encouraging when in broad daylight that yesterday or the day before that people dressed in police uniforms are able to come in and kidnap 150 people and leave with them and go through checkpoints? I'm, of course, disappointed that basically you're advocating the status quo here today, which I think the American people in the last election said that is not an acceptable condition.
Well, Senator, I agree with you. The status quo is not acceptable. And I don't believe what I'm saying here today is the status quo.
General Abizaid said again and again the solution is increasing the training of Iraqi troops, although time is running out.
General Abizaid, how much time do you think we have to bring down the level of violence in Baghdad before we reach some type of tipping point where it accelerates beyond the control of even the Iraqi government?
I think it needs to be brought down within the next several months.
90 days, 60 days?
4 to 6 months.
4 to 6 months.
Shortly after General Abizaid spoke, the Pentagon's intelligence agency released this grim new assessment of the situation in Iraq. Among the findings, violence is increasing in scope, complexity, and lethality. And Charlie, the Shia death squads are often operating under the protection and the approval of the very Iraqi police that the U.S. has been training.
Jonathan Karl reporting tonight on the status of things in Iraq as the generals see them. In Iraq today, the U.S. military reported the deaths of 6 American forces. 2 were killed in a roadside bombing in Baghdad. The others died in fighting in Al Anbar province, that volatile region west of the capital. We turn from Iraq to the overall war on terror. And tonight we go to a place where al-Qaeda recruits terrorists. The place is seemingly peaceful, but it is also fertile ground for militants to recruit terrorists willing to carry out attacks against the U.S. and Europe. Our chief investigative correspondent, Brian Ross, joins us. Brian?
Charlie, al-Qaeda's ability to find new recruits is of great and growing concern to U.S. and European officials. And as we found in an ABC News undercover investigation, much of that recruiting is taking place in Pakistan. This is one of the places where U.S. and Pakistani officials say al-Qaeda has been able to find new recruits. a yearly gathering in a field held this week outside Lahore, Pakistan, attended by more than 1 million religious, conservative Muslims who belong to a group that opposes violence. But intelligence sources tell ABC News al-Qaeda uses the setting as cover.
It's where every year, they send operatives to recruit people, to raise funds, and to plot attacks against the West.
Pakistani officials say some of the al-Qaeda meetings have taken place in a building compound on the grounds, where access is closely guarded. ABC News consultant Alexei Deba took these pictures as he worked his way into the compound this week. It was here 2 years ago, in November 2004, that intelligence sources say 2 of the London subway bombers met with al-Qaeda commanders.
This is kind of the heart of this whole terrorist activity on the site. It's this compound.
The gathering this week comes against a backdrop of raging anti-American sentiment in Pakistan, particularly following an airstrike last month on an Islamic school suspected of training terrorists in northern Pakistan. 80 people were killed in the attack, and the former CIA station chief in Pakistan fears al-Qaeda will use it to its advantage.
The risk associated with groups that are based in Pakistan is always very high, and they're obviously this sort of recruitment, one can presume, is taking place all the time. But after something like this has occurred, I would say that the opportunities for recruitment are that much greater.
In fact, tensions are now considered so high in Pakistan that intelligence sources fear it will be difficult for the U.S. to launch any new airstrikes on any suspected al-Qaeda site for months, if not years, to come. Charlie.
Our chief investigative correspondent, Brian Ross. President Bush landed in Singapore a short time ago. He's beginning a week-long Asian trip for a series of summits and economic conferences and his first visit to Vietnam. The president made a brief stop in Moscow along the way, meeting Russia's President Vladimir Putin, a gesture of friendship toward a leader whose support Mr. Bush needs in dealing with North Korea and Iran. In this country, there is major news in the airline industry tonight. U.S. Airways has made a hostile bid to buy Delta Airlines for $8 billion in cash and stock. Delta is resisting. If the deal went through, the combined company would carry more passengers than any airline in the world. ABC's Steve Osunsami is joining me now here in Atlanta, the home of Delta Airlines. Steve?
Good evening, Charlie. Delta is in the middle of bankruptcy, and U.S. Airways only recently managed to escape it. If U.S. Air manages to win this fight and can actually buy out Delta Airlines, it's possible that the problems facing both airlines could be solved.
U.S. Airways says it has tried to play nice. Executives first approached Delta last spring, but the nation's third largest airline was not interested in merging operations. Today, U.S. Air began selling the idea to Delta's creditors, offering them $4 billion in cash and another $4 billion in stock. If the deal goes through, the combined airline would keep the Delta name and could quickly earn more than $1.6 billion in profits.
We can reduce our costs by $700 million.
Maybe at 35B. Thank you.
U.S. Airways is promising customers better service with a smorgasbord of flights. That's despite costly labor struggles and stiff competition from low-cost carriers. But most analysts believe consumers will pay more to fly.
Well, if you have industry consolidation, you probably will see a firming up of ticket prices, which means on average the consumer would be paying more.
Ticket prices are already 4% higher than this time last year. And at the Atlanta airport today, there was no love for the deal.
There's one really large airline that's,
monopoly.
Yeah, you really worry about that. Eventually, there's going to be 3 or 4 companies that are going to own all the airlines, and we won't have a choice.
Delta is one of the city's largest employers, and tens of thousands of residents could lose their jobs if U.S. Air takes over.
I would also assume that there would probably be different decisions on moving certain operations and so on. And that can't be good for the city.
In a statement today, Delta politely explained that it plans to stay put and emerge from bankruptcy as a strong standalone carrier. Delta clearly won't go down easy.
U.S. Air now has to hope that its tall dollars will persuade Delta's creditors to abandon the airline and agree to the merge. The deal will likely face additional hurdles when it reaches antitrust regulators in Washington. Charlie?
So much uncertainty whether this deal will ever be done.
Absolutely.
All right, Steve Osunsami here in Atlanta. And here in the southeast, as you can probably see behind me, it has been a day of fierce weather as tornadoes and powerful thunderstorms cut a path across several states. It was a very close call for more than 30 young children who were inside a skating rink that collapsed in Montgomery, Alabama, injuring 2 of them. Heavy damage is reported also in parts of Arkansas, Mississippi, and Louisiana. And there were several tense hours across the Pacific Rim today after an undersea earthquake, magnitude 8.3 off northern Japan, triggered tsunami warnings from Japan to Alaska. Thousands of people fled Japan's northern coast, but the most significant wave was just 16 inches tall. Still ahead on this broadcast, new confusion in the government's prescription drug program, the complicated choices facing 43 million Americans, and we'll take a closer look. Flying blind, why is the Pentagon spending $500 million on a ticketing system that most of its employees never use, and it's your money? And a deep-sea adventure here in Atlanta, the world's largest aquarium. It is one man's remarkable gift to a city.
This is World News with Charles Gibson. Brought to you by Planters.
Open your door to the nut that's been famously fresh and famously fun for 100 years. So take my hand and step inside. Planters. Take my hand and step inside.
Spend less time lying awake with annoying aches and pains and more time asleep when you switch from Tylenol PM to new Advil PM. Advil PM. Less time lying awake, more time asleep.
This is a very uncomfortable situation. Sales of flatulent. I've remained silent but deadly about this problem so far.
Got gas on your mind? New Gas X Thin Strips dissolve quickly and relieve gas fast. Gas X, pressure's off.
Got too much on your plate to think about what should go on your plate? Try Delicious Ensure, a source of complete balanced nutrition. So when you can't eat right, eat smart. Ensure, nutrition for a healthier you.
A bad sore throat. You want fast relief. The hospital strength relief of Cepacol lozenges. Cepacol numbs sore throat pain so fast, it's the #1 choice of hospitals.
The pain is gone.
Cepacol ends your sore throat emergency.
In the human body, the heart pumps blood through thousands of miles of arteries every minute.
Inventor of the Jarvik artificial heart, Dr. Robert Jarvik.
But high cholesterol can clog arteries and lead to heart disease or a stroke. Adding Lipitor is proven to lower bad cholesterol an impressive 39 to 60% when diet and exercise are not enough. And today, clinical evidence proves that Lipitor can reduce both your risk of heart attack and your risk of stroke if you have several common risk factors for heart disease. All important reasons to ask your doctor about Lipitor. Lipitor is not for everyone, including people with liver problems and women who are nursing, pregnant, or may become pregnant. You need simple blood tests to check for liver problems. Tell your doctor if you're taking other medications or if you have any muscle pain or weakness. They may be a sign of a rare but serious side effect. Lipitor is one of many treatment options to consider with your doctor. Could you be doing more with Lipitor? Ask your doctor.
It is time again for older Americans to sign up for a Medicare drug plan. Most remember the confusion just a few months ago of choosing between dozens of very different plans. Well, now, 43 million senior citizens eligible for the Part D prescription drug benefit have to enroll for 2007. And there is no prospect that it's going to be any easier. Here's ABC's Lisa Stark with tonight's Closer Look.
What I've done here is searched all the plans.
Stan Alper volunteers at a Maryland senior center to help others choose between Medicare prescription drug plans.
It's not as arcane as the tax code, but it has some of that element in it.
He's helping Willie Mae Johnson, who's still unclear if the coverage is worth it for her.
Do I have time to decide whether I'm going to take it, or
you
do
do.
I have to do it today? Or
Seniors who want to stay in their current plans don't have to do anything.
I'm going to continue with the same plan. I thought I could find a cheaper one, but after looking at one and talking with my insurance agent, this seems to be the best.
But those who've studied next year's options warn that people need to look closely at the fine print.
The premium is likely to be different. What drugs are covered are different. Other out-of-pocket costs will be different. What drugstores you can go may be different.
More than 3/4 of the plans will increase premiums next year, some more than 25%. Premiums for the most widely used plan, sponsored by AARP, jump 6%. And those for the second most popular, from Humana, go up 60%. Melvin London is angry that the monthly premium for his Humana plan will nearly triple next year.
And I wonder about next year. Is it going to be $120? And then what do I do?
Humana insists even with the increase, it still has among the lowest premiums.
Seniors have until the end of the year to sign up or switch plans, but the government is urging them not to wait until the last minute, saying it's better to sign up early to ensure there's no interruption in coverage.
They should make that choice, and hopefully early. As we say, December 8, don't be late.
That leaves just 3 weeks for seniors to make a decision that will impact them for the next 12 months. Lisa Stark, ABC News, Silver Spring, Maryland.
And if you are trying to sort through the Medicare drug plans for yourself, it's not easy, but we have tried to put together a list of tips at our website, abcnews.com. When we come back, why a major Pentagon travel program never got off the ground despite spending $500 million of your money.
I'm Joseph Rainier, and this is my story. What I really enjoy doing is working out as far as lifting weights and doing the boxing. Can tend to be a little hard on the joints at times, especially at my age. After, a couple hours after working out, it's agonizing. I mean, it is painful. A friend of mine told me about Aleve. I had been trying all these different things and not getting any results. I just take it when I need it. It does the job. For me, Aleve works great. The pain goes away. I mean, you talk about knockout power. Aleve does have a knockout punch, and that's a good thing.
If you love racing, get a scratch-off card at Denny's. We're giving away 5 VIP race packages, plus a grand prize right along with a big-name driver.
Wow.
There are millions of Coca-Cola beverage and Denny's food prizes, too. So race in to win at Denny's.
I try to do whatever I can to take care of my health. It's a very big part of who I am. So when I found out I had osteoporosis, I knew I had to meet it head on. Then my doctor told me about Boniva, how it helps build strong, healthy bones to prevent fractures with just 1 pill a month. And I thought, hey, I can do this. Unlike other treatments you have to take once a week, I only need Boniva once a month.
You should not take Boniva if you have low blood calcium, severe kidney disease, or cannot sit or stand for at least 60 minutes. Follow dosing instructions carefully. Stop taking Boniva and tell your doctor if you experience difficult or painful swallowing, chest pain, or severe or continuing heartburn, as these may be signs of serious upper digestive problems.
If you're as determined as I am to have strong, healthy bones, don't wait. Ask your doctor if Boniva is right for you. I'm so glad I did.
Once monthly Boniva. There's only one. Ask your doctor for a free trial offer or call 1-800-4-BONIVA.
Mother Nature gave some animals warm winter coats, but others depend on Burlington Coat Factory for designer coats up to 60% off department store prices. And now with our new cash back policy, there's no reason to be left out in the cold.
Nasal allergy symptoms like congestion can occur at any time, and it's hard to avoid the things that cause them. Prescription Nasonex helps relieve congestion and other nasal allergy symptoms. Maybe that's why 4 million nasal allergy sufferers used Nasonex last year.
Side effects were generally mild and included headache, viral infection, sore throat, nosebleeds, and coughing. For more information, talk to your doctor.
Nasonex keeps congestion and other nasal allergy symptoms on the run, day and night.
Tomorrow morning, where can you see Emmett and Mario together live for the first time after tonight's Dancing with the Stars grand finale? And see the next new wonder of the world? Only on Good Morning America. Now, how wondrous is that?
From Congress tonight, the story of a remarkable comeback. Republican Trent Lott of Mississippi has won election as minority whip, second in Republican Senate leadership. He won in a secret ballot by 1 vote over Lamar Alexander of Tennessee. Lott, you'll recall, was forced out as majority leader 4 years ago after making remarks that many considered to be racially insensitive. And a man who once wielded tremendous influence in Washington is tonight a federal prisoner. Former lobbyist Jack Abramoff, at the center of a Capitol Hill corruption scandal, began serving an almost 6-year sentence at a minimum security facility in Maryland. He was convicted of fraud in a Florida business deal. Meanwhile, ABC's George Stephanopoulos reports the Democratic Party's first order of business on Capitol Hill will be to ban all gifts and travel paid for by lobbyists once they, the Democrats, take control of the House and Senate in January. In Washington tomorrow, congressional investigators are going to go public with a report that says the Pentagon is wasting millions of dollars buying plane tickets. Most Americans have their own systems of saving money on travel. The Pentagon thought it could do the same. However, the investigators will say the Pentagon system has been a huge failure, wasting your money. Here's ABC's John Cochran.
The Defense Department is the world's biggest purchaser of airline tickets. So the Pentagon bought its own online booking system called the Defense Travel System, DTS, which was supposed to save money on travel agents and paperwork and buy only the cheapest seats. But many in Congress say the system is a disaster. 4 years behind schedule and $200 million over budget.
It'll take 200 years to ever pay back the cost of this contract in terms of that saving, especially when you consider the fact they're not getting the best price.
Investigators say most Pentagon travelers refuse to use DTS because of faulty software or because they believe they can get a better price elsewhere.
Close to 80% of the folks in the Defense Department are simply picking up the phone, calling a travel agent because it's easier, it's more complete. And in the end, it will cost taxpayers less money.
In fact, critics say the Pentagon could get cheaper airfares simply by using discount travel sites that bargain hunters use, such as Travelocity or Expedia. Not true, says Northrop Grumman, the company that devised the defense travel system.
This is a program that the American taxpayer, the Department of Defense, can be very proud of. It is actually being deployed, it is being used, and it's going to save the Department of Defense money.
Senator Coburn doesn't buy that and says it's time to kill a failed program.
We should stop. Whoa, there are other systems out there. There's a better way to do it. We should not perpetuate this hoax on the American taxpayer.
But Congress has voted to spend another $60 million on the defense travel system for a total cost of $474 million. That's your money. John Cochran, ABC News, Washington.
It is not often you see tents pitched outside computer stores, but such was the case today. The Sony PlayStation 3 goes on sale Friday, and only 400,000 will be available across the country for now. And that sparked lines, the tents, and some furious bidding on eBay. People anxious for the games to begin. Up next, inside the biggest aquarium in the world, $290 million buys an awful lot of fish.
Excuse me. So what exactly are you guys?
Sneakers, baby. Vintage 1985 high tops, limited edition. Old school.
Wow, you guys sound pretty cool.
You know how I roll.
So how's the postal carrier gonna handle all you guys?
It's all good. The lady drives a big truck.
Wow.
With lots of room in the truck, the post office comes to you with free package pickup.
What's your cereal's IQ? It's an odd question, but some cereals are brighter than others. When it comes to your heart, Smart Start is pretty intelligent. It's designed to help lower cholesterol. Smart, right? But what makes it a heart health scholar? It has potassium and low sodium to help lower blood pressure, too. Pretty simple and very smart. And did I tell you how great it tastes? I didn't? How dumb of me.
Kellogg Smart Start Healthy Heart. For your heart, start smart.
Spend less time lying awake with annoying aches and pains and more time asleep when you switch from Tylenol PM to new Advil PM. Advil PM. Less time lying awake, more time asleep.
Serenity has a leg up on bladder control protection because our underwear now comes in a second absorbency that's more absorbent. New Super Plus. Serenity by Tena. The protection you trust, now in underwear.
Now Promise Buttery Spread helps maintain a healthy heart when eaten instead of butter or margarine. And now it's rich with heart health essentials like omega-3, and it's less in saturated fat. Plus, there's no trans fat and lots of creamy, buttery taste. In fact, it's our healthiest and tastiest buttery spread yet. No wonder hearts are beating louder. Promise Buttery Spread, taking your health to heart.
Lynn Redgrave for Bristol-Myers Squibb.
I want to die from eating too much chocolate, or from exhaustion dancing the tango. I want to die of laughter on my 87th birthday. But I refuse to die from breast cancer. I want to die from something else.
Your will, our medicines. Together we can fight the serious diseases. Bristol Myers Squibb. Together we can prevail.
I'm Steve Dunn. Next, the Northwest only all local newscast. Down trees and power outages. How long will this latest wind and rainstorm last? Plus, why an Iraq War veteran fired several shots into his burned out home in Salem. Next at 6:30.
Which clinic provides abortions? This woman couldn't tell.
I felt deceived. I felt confused.
The group that lured her makes no apologies.
It's much harder for them to actually think of destroying that child.
The powerful tools being used to stop abortion on World News with Charles Gibson.
And finally from us, we got to play tourist today in Atlanta with a look at the city's newest and perhaps most popular attraction. It was built with a few $100 million and a dream. Atlanta is 240 miles from the sea. You can't move Atlanta to the sea, but it turns out you can move the sea to Atlanta. The city now has the largest aquarium in the world. 8 million gallons of water, 120,000 fish and animals, a $290 million price tag. Just a touch bigger than that fish tank on your kitchen counter. Almost all of the $290 million came from Bernie Marcus. He's the guy who started Home Depot. His first stores were in Atlanta, and he was looking for a way to give back. Why, if you want to do something for the community, an aquarium?
It's the best attraction you could possibly have. There is nobody that doesn't want to see an aquarium. There's nobody. I mean, you tell me who is anti-aquarium.
Well, no one we could find. Even the fish, and these are the ones who didn't get away, seem okay with the size of the tank. Beluga whales, whale sharks, Japanese spider crabs, stingrays, ornate wobegongs, and don't ask me what is an ornate wobegong, even penguins. 10,000 people a day meander through, more than 3 million since the aquarium opened less than a year ago. And if you'll excuse the expression, an attraction like an aquarium can have a ripple effect.
Our economic impact on just the city and the state is about $1.6 billion in the next 5 years.
Of course, the sea is a predatory place. The big fish eat the smaller fish that have eaten the smaller fish, and on and on. How to prevent that? Keep them stuffed. Feed them thousands of pounds of food. How do you make sure that the food goes to the right guys?
They're trained.
They're trained?
Yes.
You have trained fish in here?
Yeah. How about the whale shark? The whale shark is 22 feet,
right.
And you have a bucket that you hit the water with, and he comes right to the bucket.
The aquarium is also a 21st century center for marine medicine. Even fish occasionally may need an EKG, or an X-ray machine, or an operating room.
We can treat anything from a small goby, that's a little fish, maybe about 3 to 4 inches long, up to the size of a whale shark, which by the time they're grown can be 40 to 60 feet.
There's a lot of research that's going to come out of here as well that hopefully is going to help us to figure out a way to sustain the fish industry.
But that's for the future. For now, the fish sustain Atlanta, and the city, so far from the sea, has a pretty good fish story to tell. And that is World News in Atlanta for this Wednesday. I'm Charlie Gibson. We hope there'll be better weather here tomorrow. I hope you had a good day. For all of us at ABC News, have a good night.
Taye Diggs is being called dreamy, sexy, something to behold. Tonight, see him in the show that's just as cool and addicting as Lost, a must-see thriller. Daybreak, 2-hour series premiere, tonight 9/8 Central, only on ABC.
Now, on K2 News at 6:30, more damage and more power outages as another round of high winds hits the area tonight. How long this one will last. Plus, why it's been so difficult to solve the death of a teenage girl killed at a party last week, and how some homeowners are getting away with a much smaller property tax bill than their neighbors.
Live at 6:30, K2 News, the spirit of the Northwest.
From the coast to the valley, winds up to 53 miles an hour whip through the area, bringing down trees and power lines in the middle of rush hour. In some cases, blocking drivers from going home and leaving many more in the dark. We have Team 2 coverage of this latest powerful storm.
Derek Skiba has the latest on the power outages and downed trees that are blocking Portland.